from Mario and I's perspective, we can definitely say that that sting was by far the worst reaction from a single sting you've ever had.
Ah! Oh, the sting was stuck in my arm. Ah! Ah!
You gotta tell us if you're in trouble.
Ah!
Fire on the mountain.
What's going on, Coyote Pack, and welcome to a special episode of Base Camp, because it's also an aftermath episode coming right off the sting from the Japanese Giant Hornet. And if I'm not quite on point for this episode, it's probably because it's only been 12 hours since
still
I
in
was
Japan.
stung.
And
yeah,
we're inside. Why are we inside, Mario?
We're inside because there's currently a typhoon raging outside our doors.
Typhoon Trammy's right outside, but hey, you gotta film a video, right? You gotta show what happened to your arm.
Yeah, absolutely. We thought it would be interesting to do a slightly different aftermath video so we could really dive in and dissect this sting, because it was one of the most epic we have ever featured on the channel. It looks like a fully plumped hot dog. The swelling is all the way down into my elbow, and all the way up through my wrist, and I think if you were to stick me with a fork right now, it would explode.
Show them the Popeye effect. Show them the whole thing. There you go. You've been eating your spinach, huh?
Nope, I've been taking Japanese Giant Hornet venom to the arm. I don't recommend it, guys. Trust me, it has been an excruciating 12 hours. And Mario, as we know, there are multiple species of hornets here in Japan, and we went after the biggest.
Giant hornet, right? So doing our research, we determined that there are several species, some of them that look very similar.
Yeah, we brought some with us.
Right, actually this is cool. The entomologist we were working with in the field gifted us this amazing collection. Look at that. So these are the 4 largest species of hornet that live here in Japan, and the only true giant is this one right up here in the top left corner.
Yeah.
And that is the species that I was stung by, the true Japanese Giant Hornet.
Sure, we had some difficulty initially actually finding one.
Yeah.
We caught one that we thought was a giant hornet, but during further research we determined it wasn't.
Yeah, that was actually, that's a good point to make. We can actually show some of that footage because it probably didn't make the episode. That was actually this species right down here.
Still pretty big.
Still way bigger than any of the hornets we have in the United States, and very similar in design. A yellow head, same aposematic coloration, but as you can see, the size difference is pretty noticeable.
Yeah, very significant.
So, okay, let's turn the microphone over to ask you some questions.
Yes.
First of all, how you feeling?
Really out of it. I'm in a daze. I feel like I'm sick. My body is definitely fighting against the venom right now. I've felt nauseous. I barely slept last night. I tried to just keep an ice pack on my arm to minimize the swelling. Took some antihistamines.
At breakfast you told us there was a transition last night from like searing pain to extreme itching.
Yes, my arm itches like crazy right now, and I just keep doing this.
Stop.
I know, you're not supposed to itch it, but it is so itchy right now. And still, the pain isn't nearly as intense as it was, you know, the first 6 hours after the sting. It sort of dissipated throughout the course of the night, but it was still uncomfortable to the point where it made it almost impossible to sleep.
Well, from Mario and I's perspective, we can definitely say that that sting was by far the worst reaction from a single sting you've ever had, or bite, actually.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, the immediate response was intense swelling. I mean, we could see it immediately. Lots of the other stings, it was a little bit more of a gradual swelling and visual. But that visual of you just like, boom, exploding into a little like egg shaped knot.
We put up a picture right here. It's like an instant goose egg on your arm.
It was crazy. And now where I think that came from is similar to the bullet ant. When the hornet stung me, its stinger went so deep, it actually got stuck in my flesh. It makes for a very interesting comparison between the two.
Yeah, I almost had a flashback to the bullet ant when it's like, its stinger stuck in my arm, like almost the same scenario was dancing around.
Yeah, well, and in that moment, I mean, of course, similar to the bullet ant, I wanted you guys to be able to get that shot to the best of your ability, and it took every ounce of strength I had to not swipe the insect off of my arm and to let that stinger take hold.
And of note, of course, is you had significant amount of venom injected.
Yes.
Right? Based on the size ratio of this insect compared to the bullet ant, everything else we've dealt with, the amount of venom going in is great.
I would say arguably this is probably the most amount of venom that has been pumped into my arm by an insect at this point.
From one insect.
From one insect.
Still the bees on the face, I think, is the worst reaction you've ever had.
Definitely.
But from one insect, I would agree.
Without question, and I would liken the sting from this insect to be similar to the bite of the giant desert centipede.
Really?
As far as like
that
what
bad?
the effects are. Definitely that bad, yeah. And certainly the aftermath of my arm swelling like this, the centipede did the exact same thing. So in the midst of filming that episode, it's really tough to catch and compose your words and really think about what you're saying. And I'm sure it all cut together wonderfully in post-production because we're filming this before the episode is even edited.
Right.
And you guys are watching this after it had been edited and then you saw the episode. But I think in the midst, I was saying it certainly was more painful than the tarantula hawk, without question.
Yes.
And after the fact, I have to say that the Japanese Giant Hornet dethrones the bullet ant as being the most painful sting. Yes, without question. And here's why. Here's why. Now, the bullet ant itself, based on intimidation factor, it's really not that scary. It's just a big ant.
Kind of charismatic, actually.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lore behind the bullet ant.
There is, but there's also a lot of lore behind the Japanese Giant Hornet. And in fact, multiple people, as many as 10 to 25 people die every year from the stings of the Japanese Giant Hornet. Nobody dies from bullet ant stings, so you have to think about it.
So, in your opinion, how many stings do you think a person could take before it becomes a life-threatening situation?
I would guess probably 10 stings. And of course, it depends where you were stung. So take the bee beard, for example, right? If you were to have 10 of these hornets attack you, if you disturbed a nest and they latched onto you, keep in mind, those little feet have grappling hooks on them. They have those big biting mandibles.
You can hear their mandibles clipping.
And they can sting multiple times.
Sting multiple times, which bees cannot. So if you've got 10 of these hornets that were to latch onto you, if you disturbed a nest, my guess would be 10 stings could kill a human.
Yeah, in the research that we conducted, certainly every year, just like in the United States, every year people die from bee stings, right?
Sure.
And generally it's an allergic reaction. So not only do you have the potential to have an allergic reaction, but multiple huge stings will definitely cause a lot of edema, and it could actually block off your airway. That's the danger.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying that if you were stung in the face, that would probably be the case.
And I mean, it's tough too, and Mara, you can speak to this, like, you know, being behind the camera, witnessing one of your friends go through this. We talk about this beforehand, like Coyote tells us, like, you know, try to get me to respond, try to get me talking, and even asking you questions while you're going through that experience. You almost feel bad in a way, but yesterday was certainly one of those times where I was seeing the swelling and thinking, Mario, do we need to be really worried here?
Sure. You know, the first initial seconds is crucial for any sting, right? If you do have an allergic reaction and go into anaphylactic shock, that happens within seconds. So that moment where we monitor, you know, your speech, your vitals, everything, very important. Once we pass that and we're into the minutes, okay, that part is safe. You're not going to go into shock, but now we have to work with your reaction of the actual venom. It's amazing how the different venom properties will either last longer, what they're going to affect, and so on. And I agree that significantly this reaction is worse than the bullet ant.
Oh yeah.
However, the bullet ant, you were basically 36 hours later, you were kind of like, it still hurts,
right.
Still thriving.
I was surprised to hear that you're ranking it up there with the centipede bite.
Yes.
Like that to me, I mean, we've talked many times off camera, like you've always said that the centipede bite will always be the top to you, but you're saying that this is right there?
This is right there for sure. It's not as bad as the Gila monster bite, but keep in mind, guys, bites and stings are very different. More venom comes from a bite than a sting, but again, the stinger getting stuck in my arm and pumping venom multiple times is a big dose. I mean, you can feel, I mean, you guys can't feel it through the camera, but my entire elbow is swollen. And we had marked on my arm the swell lines. I still have some of the Sharpie marker spots.
It just
that was the sting. This was the immediate swelling. And now, I mean, you know, my wrist, it feels like if you were to stick me with a fork, it would go
put your both your forms next to each other so you can kind of see.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get a tight shot of that right there. You guys can see one form as compared to the next. And certainly if I turn them like this, this one is just, it's so
high.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, you know, as we are gearing up for the release of the Executioner Wasp, I know the burning question out there from all of you is, will that sting be more painful than the Japanese Giant Hornet? And it's strange because we filmed that episode over a year ago. So we've had the Executioner Wasp in the can for over a year, but we felt we needed to get this one first. I'll tell you what, guys, the Executioner Wasp episode absolutely delivers. I promise you will not be disappointed. And if the Giant Hornet was any indicator as to what the executioner is going to be like, trust me guys, it was well worth the year-long wait. I'm Coyote Peterson.
I'm Mark Vins.
I'm Ariel Decoa.
Be brave.
Stay wild.
We'll see you on the next base camp adventure.
Let's get some tea.
Yeah, tea time.
Yeah.
Hey Coyote Pack, are you excited for the conclusion to my climb up the Insect Sting Pain Index? If so, learn more about these thrilling and painful adventures in my new book, The King of Sting. It swarms into bookstores November 27th, but you can pre-order your copy today. Look for the link in the description below. And don't forget, subscribe, then click the notification bell so you can join me and the crew on our next wild adventure. Ah! Oh, this thing is stuck in my arm. Oh, searing pain. Absolute searing pain.